This webinar is designed to assist you with building your GMetrix Classroom within the GMetrix admin panel at manage.gmetrix.net. I will first show you the 4-step process to building your classroom and preparing for students to access the content. Then we will take each step one at a time so that you can prepare your classroom. We will first navigate to the GMetrix admin panel at manage.gmetrix.net. Once you have logged in, you will choose Classrooms on the left-hand navigation panel. Not only has Classrooms given you the ability to give students access to GMetrix in 4 easy steps, but you will also have the ability to manage your classroom content settings, including creating and distributing access codes and monitoring your student progress all in one place. Step 1 gives you the opportunity to name your classroom. Step 2, you will add the content that you would like in your classroom. I do want to note here that rather than having several different codes for your classroom and a code for your course and then a code for your practice test, you will have one code that will include your course as well as the practice test. The search feature and the drop downs allow you to easily locate the content that you will want to add to your course. Once your content has been added, you will take your classroom code, distribute it to your students, and they will redeem it in the student panel at gmetrix.net. I know I went through that rather quickly, but it's because it's that simple. 4 easy steps to create your classroom. I'm going to slow it down now and give you a chance to work on creating your classroom. The 4 steps to prepare your classroom and deliver the code so that students can have access to the content are: Number 1, you will name your classroom. Number 2, add the content. Number 3, distribute the code. And number 4, students will redeem the code. I'm going to walk you through these step by step, and then we'll deliver the code, and then I will show you some additional features available within Classrooms. We want to make sure that we are within the management panel by navigating to manage.gmetrix.net. You will then use your admin credentials to sign into the portal. Upon entering the dashboard, you will go to Classrooms on the left-hand side. Once you're here, you're going to choose New Classroom, and you're going to name your classroom. And then you're going to choose the number of students for your classroom. I do recommend adding a few more than the number of students you actually have in your class in case new ones are added. Next, you're going to choose Create Classroom, and then you will choose your content. Here, you're going to select Content. Here, you will choose Add Content, and you're going to choose the content that you'd like your students to have access to. And just a note here, your students will have access to all of the tests as well as the courses that go along with the content. And you're going to choose Save. When back on the content page, choose Save again. Notice next to your content, it does say pending until you click Save again, and then the pending status will be removed. One more thing before we pause to give you a moment to complete those steps. In order to get the code for your students to redeem, you want to navigate back to the Details tab. There will be your code, and that is what you will give your students to redeem in the student dashboard so that they can have access to your content. I will now pause for a moment to give you time to name your classroom and add your content. Don't forget, when adding students, add a few more than what you actually have in your class in case some come in later. Now that we've added our content, let's look at some of our content settings. You do have your default settings here. Notice that everything is turned on. You have the start date, which is the date your students will be able to first see the content. If you hover over the information buttons, it will also give you information. Then you have your end date, and your end date is going to be the last date that your students will be able to see content. For your default settings, I do suggest that you put it at least a week out from the last day of school. I'm going to go ahead and choose July 1st for mine. You can set the max number of tests that your students are able to take. I'm going to put mine at 10 there. The max is 100. You can allow the students so that they can only see certain exams in testing mode or training mode. The way we have it on now, they can see practice exam 1, 2, 3 in all of the practice exams in testing and training mode. I'm going to leave that on in my default settings. You also have the option of the question review, which permits students to review missed questions without changing the score in testing mode. I'll show you what that looks like. Once a student finishes a test in testing mode, they're given their score report. If the question review button is checked in the admin panel, there will be a button that says Review Missed Questions. That will allow them to review missed questions without changing the score in testing mode. If that button is unchecked, there will be no button on the score report. If the study guide button is unchecked in the admin panel, then students will not have the option to utilize a study guide in their dashboard. If they are not able to use a study guide, they will miss out on the opportunity to track their proficiency, to track the date that they will do the certification exam, as well as being able to utilize a study guide for remediation and focusing on their development areas. Once you have chosen your default settings, be sure to click the Save button. So we've chosen our default settings, and our students are able to see all of our content between 8/16/23 and 7/1/24. What we can also do is have content level settings, where we can determine the dates on individual practice exams. So if we go to Word 1 practice exam, we are able to have the start date of 8/16, or we can change it to 8/18, and then we will have an end date or a due date of 8/20. Now, the due date that you put on this, the students will be able to see in the student panel on their dashboard. Once they go to the program, it will show them the date you have chosen for that assignment to be due. Once you select your due date, you can also change the max attempts on that specific assignment. So instead of giving them 100 attempts, you can take them down to 10 attempts, 5 attempts, 3 attempts, 1 attempt. You can allow them to be able to review, as well as you can have it in training mode or testing mode. If you select so they can only do it in testing mode, once the student goes to the assignment in the student dashboard, they will only see one mode. They will not have a choice of training or testing. All they will have to do is click Start Test. But once you have your settings for this individual piece of content, you want to make sure to click Save. Then you can move to the next piece of content and you can choose the dates for that one. I'm going to change this one so that it will be available for students to view on the 21st, and they can have until the 23rd in order to complete it. Now, if you find that your plans change and you need to adjust the start date and the due date, you are able to come back over and adjust those dates. Be sure once you do any adjustments within the dates that you choose Save. One more amazing feature that we've added is, I told you that you have your course and your content all within the same access code. So when you click on your course here, again, you're able to have content level settings for your course, so you can choose a start date and a due date for your course, but you also have here the instructor resources. This is the teacher workbook as well as the support files. Remember, that teacher workbook for your LearnKey course has the lesson plans in it. It has the answers in it as well. And those support files are going to have completed files in them so that you know what the assignment actually should look like. Again, whenever you're changing your content level settings, be sure to click that save button. You can go back to the default settings by clicking default settings. If you have added content that you do not want your students to be able to have or you like to remove, it's easy as clicking the trash can and remove. If you decide that you want it back in there, just choose add content, search for the content that you'd like to add, and choose the save button. Now I will pause for a minute to give you time to adjust some of your content level settings. Let's have a look at our Students tab. Within the Students tab, you will be able to see the code that you give to your students for them to redeem and have access to your content. Once they redeem that code, they will automatically populate into your classroom, and you'll be able to see who all is there along with their name, their email address, whether they have accessibility features, their last login, as well as there's a tab for you to be able to click on and get more details about the student and their work. If you click on the details for a student, you'll be able to print the student's transcript. This is an interactive transcript, so you can click on it and be able to see the actual score report for that specific assignment. You'll also be able to see the start date, completed date, their score, and the time that they spent on the test. This is printable, so it's great for those parent-teacher conferences or those student-teacher conferences. You're able to reset the student's password if necessary and archive the student if they leave your class. You're also able to turn on accessibility features. I do not recommend turning these on unless you have sent in the paperwork, and they will have them on the certification exam. These accessibility features give the student additional time, on-screen key. They can have an on-screen keyboard. They can have a big cursor. They can have highlighting as well as contrast. Additionally, within the student, you'll be able to see the classrooms that they are in, as well as reports on the student. So this is going to show that all of the products that the student has access to, and it'll show their progress or proficiency within those products. If I click on the product, I can see what they did. So I'm able to see the test name here, and again, it's interactive, so I can go and see the actual score report, and I can see the date completed, how many times they attempted. I can also see this is the course, and this is lesson 1 lab. I can see that they completed this on the 10th, and they received a 29% on it. Again, I can click on details and see more. I'm also able to see the skill tree for this student. So I know that they are 17% proficient on technology basics, and they attempted 26 questions. I can get more in depth and see what more specifics as to where the student is operating, what their proficiency is. This is also able to be exported and printed. Our last tab is going to be Reports. Within the Reports tab, you can utilize the date picker to determine whether you want to see the reports for the entire class based over the last week, month, or you can choose a custom date. You can also filter down to testing or training. The score filter allows you to see the latest, best, or average. You can choose your category, and then you'll be able to choose your product based on your category. And it will give you the report for your class. Again, when you are in Classroom, this report is for your class. I have 2 students in this class, so it's giving me my progress for my student within the Learn Key. They're at a 2%. They've completed 2% of that course. It's giving me their latest score, because I have it filtered to latest, for the Digital Literacy Practice Exam 1. And then it's not giving me Practice Exam 2 score because they have not completed that. These reports are available for export as well as print. And then I'll show you, it does give me the skill tree for my class for the GS6 Digital Literacy Level 1. For the class, they have a 13% proficiency with 53 questions attempted. And if I look more into it, I'm able to see that the class missed the matching USB. There's only a 33% proficiency there, and they attempted one of the 3 questions, and they missed this question. That's why it has the X there. The questions with 0% proficiency, usually you have to look and see if the question has been attempted, but it will give you information on what the question is. Let's review our tabs within Classrooms. Details is where you will be able to name your classroom, choose the number of students, and view the classroom code to distribute to your students. The Content tab is where you will be able to choose the content that you will be giving to your students, and you will be able to choose start and end dates for that content, along with some other exciting features. The Students tab allows you to see who is in your class, as well as your classroom code, more details about that student and the work that they are doing, as well as if they have accessibility features and their last login. Reports will allow you to see the students overall, the entire classroom, reports for any progress, as well as any scores for practice tests that you have assigned, and additionally, the skill tree to show their proficiency. One more exciting feature that's going to be located in the top right-hand corner of each page is the Submit Feedback feature. Utilizing this feature, you're able to give us direct feedback on one of the categories chosen here, or if there's something else, please feel free to type it in the feedback box. We are not able to accept pictures of the feedback at this time, but whether you love it or you don't like it so much, or you feel there's something that we need to change, or if it's you don't like the way you don't feel it's working properly, please feel free to submit your feedback to us. As a reminder, we do have a GMetrix support page at support.gmetrix.net. On this support page, you may find a lot of the answers to burning questions that you may have. We do have sections that feature Mac OS and Adobe, as those are some of the issues that we see a lot of in our support. We also have a page highlighting the new features for the GMetrix admin panel as well as the student panel. And they are complete with pictures on how to utilize the features. If you need additional assistance, you are able to create a support ticket or contact us at the number listed. And if you want to check the status of your support ticket, that is available to you as well. Be sure to sign up for our future webinars held every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time and 3 p.m. Mountain Time. To see the topic as well as a sign-up link, log into your GMetrix admin panel at manage.gmetrix.net, and the webinar calendar is right there in the center. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to connect with us on the GMetrix LinkedIn and Facebook page. On these pages, we will post our latest webinar titles, as well as any upcoming conferences or speaking engagements that GMetrix will be a part of. We will also post about new features and exciting things going on within GMetrix. Be sure to subscribe and share the GMetrix YouTube page. Here is where we post all of our past and future webinars. Don't forget the support page as well. You will find many of your technical support questions can be answered by a quick visit to the support page.